I also enjoyed the fact that in the book you get these chapter openers where they're like letters, like a document, not a document, like a professional write up. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Hello and welcome to everyone who is watching the Written in Melanin channel. If you've never seen me before, my name is Chelsea and I write books about Black girls who aren't all that nice. I'm glad that you're here. So you guys, I am here with a reading update, and for those of you who are new to the channel, something that you should know is that I don't do these very often. So a couple of disclaimers before we even get into this. First one, I don't read a whole lot, okay? I am not a voracious booktuber. I am not a voracious reader. I read enough, and that's because I got other things to do. I am not a booktuber. This is not my primary source of whatever. So I read really slow, so I don't read a whole lot of books throughout the year. That being said, moving on to point number 2, I do not talk about all the books on this channel that I actually read. Reason for that, I only talk about the books that I like. So if you're looking for me to like drag a couple of books and authors, yeah, I'm not finna do that. At least not on this channel. If you want to know my less than savory thoughts about some books, then I suggest that you sign up for my Patreon, because that's where I would be likely to do that if I did it at all. And also point number 3, I really only read books by Black authors, so come to this channel for that. If you're looking for anything else, I'm so sorry, cannot help you. I am not that gal. I'm sorry. But if you know those 3 things about me and you're still here and you're still down for this ride, great. So let's get into this. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about 2 books today, and the first one is Rust in the Root by Justina Ireland. And if you guys know anything about me, you'll know that I really enjoyed Dread Nation and Deathless Divide by Justina Ireland. And I think part of that is just that those books came to me at a time in my life where like I just really needed them. I loved Jane. I loved the fact that she was a Black girl and she was ruthless in that book, and she wasn't overly concerned with getting people to like her, and that just really resonated with me at that time. So when I found out that Justina Ireland was writing another young adult fantasy, I was like, yep, I want it. I need to get into it. So shout out to Spark Point Studio for actually sending me this book. It took me a while to read it, so I know that this book has been out for a couple of months, but like I said, I read kind of slow. But that being said, this is a really solid read for me. I would definitely say it's like a strong 4 stars. If you enjoy Dread Nation, then I really think that you will enjoy Rust in the Root. And basically, it's a YA fantasy historical fiction based in the 1920s, and it follows the main character who goes by the name The Peregrine. And she's 17. She moves to New York because she wants to be a magical baker, basically. And in order to do that, she needs to get a license. And in order to get a license, you have to apprentice under a licensed mage for a year. So she ends up joining the Mage's Colored Auxiliary so that she can train under the Skylark. And basically, on her first day on the job, they get a mission. They're like, hey, we need you to go to the Ohio Deep Blight and we need you to fix it because we sent an advance team and they never came back. And so they go with their team of other mages from the Colored Auxiliary, and they're like, okay, we're going to go rescue the team that went in before us, and we're going to stop the Deep Blight. We're going to fix what they call a resonator, and that's supposed to fix the issue. And then obviously once they get there, things start to go left. I found this to be actually really interesting because while I was reading, I was like, I just want to know how they're going to do that. I want to know how they're going to fix the Deep Blight. I want to know if they're going to find these people, what happened to them. And I want to know if she got to be like a baker. But as the story goes on, then obviously, like I said, things go left. And I found it to be highly entertaining. And like I said, if you enjoyed Dread Nation and kind of the vibes that Jane gave off, I would say that the main character in this book is kind of like a Jane Light. She's not quite as violent as Jane, but she is definitely got that vibe of I am who I am and I'm going to do what I want to do and by any means necessary. And I really kind of like that energy. I got into it. I also really liked the magic in this book because it's just like you have mages and there are different denominations of it essentially. And then you have people who can do different things. And then you have the main character who can kind of, let's just say she's got protagonist powers. And as the story goes along, you can kind of see the different types of the magic at play and how it works throughout the book. And I thought that was really cool. And of course, like if you just like the writing style of Dread Nation, then again, Rust in the Root, you'll enjoy it. It's pretty much the same. So one of the things that I really liked is that throughout the book, you get these like reports that are in the book for the chapter openers. And basically they are from different characters. So you have the Skylark, who is the mentor, and then you have the Peregrine, who is the main character. And throughout the book, you have this report from the Skylark that's just kind of like being pieced together, that like this is what happened. And so obviously as the story goes along, you get more of what's happening in actuality versus what's happening and what she's putting into her report. And then you also have the pictures that the Peregrine is taking. So from her perspective, like her personal report, diary, whatever, for herself that she's sending to her sister. Like I said, a really strong read. If you like fantasy, if you like historical fiction, if you enjoy Dread Nation, then I really think this is a book that you will enjoy. That being said, there were a couple of things that didn't really vibe with me as much as I thought they were going to. The first one being that I wanted more of the characters surrounding the Peregrine. I feel like this book had a pretty wide cast, but I also feel like we didn't see the main character really develop friendships, like real friendships with anyone in the book. She was kind of in her own head for most of it. And that's fine because there's a lot going on. But I kind of also want to see a little bit of like, we're leaning on each other. We're coming closer together as the mages who are in this problem, you know, kind of like shared trauma, basically. But I kind of just wanted more interaction of the main character with the other people around. And I kind of wanted more from the ending because throughout the book, there's this idea that the main character is more than what she thinks she is. And I kind of wish that had come to fruition in, I don't know, more. Like, I wanted more from that, you know? I felt like it was hinting at it throughout the book. And then I felt like at the end, it was just like, this is what it is. And then everything else was kind of like wrapped up in a neat little bow. I could see this having like a sequel or another book after it, but I also don't think it is. I think this is a standalone. Because, like I said, everything at the end seemed to be wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow. There's also the main character had a sister and we never see her interact with her sister. It's all anecdotal of, you know, my sister did this and my sister did that. And my sister would say this in this situation. And it was just kind of like, okay, so is the sister ever going to like come into play? Are we actually going to hear from her, see her, talk to her, get a letter from her, anything? The answer to that is no. And for me, I was just kind of like, I kind of wanted more for that since this character had been built up throughout the story. And then also like the ending felt kind of cut and dry to me. Not in a bad way. Like I felt like the ending in and of itself was satisfying, but I think from a writer aspect for me, I just kind of wanted more from the final battle. It felt kind of anticlimactic after reading, you know, 2/3, 3/4 of the book. And then it was just kind of like, oh, okay. Not unsatisfying, but just kind of like, meh, it could have been more. And I think that's kind of my overall judgment of this. Like, this is really good. It's solid. And I really enjoyed reading it. But I also think that it could have been more, if that makes sense. So, will I pick up Justina Ireland's next YA fantasy? Yep, probably. This was a good installment in her catalog, I will say. But that's kind of my opinion on it. Please don't let it, I don't want to say don't let it sway you left or right, because I think that's why you came to this video, but that's just what I think of it. I think there are a lot of positives. I think there are a couple of negatives, but meh, get into it if you're interested. But yeah, make your own decisions. And if you have read it, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. So yeah, the other book that I want to talk to you guys about is this one, Delicious Monsters by Lizelle Samberry. So this one comes out February of this year. I don't have the exact date, but I know that it comes out February 2023. And I have started reading it. And again, something that you guys should know about me is that I'm the type of person where I'm judgmental. I try not to be, but I am. And so there are a couple of ways that I judge a book like off gate. And one of them is basically I call it the rent-free test. And basically if I start a book, I want to know if it lives rent-free in my head. Like the first 50 pages, if the book is not living rent-free in my head, I am not going to finish reading it. That's just who I am. That's how I live. If I don't care what's going to happen by the first 50 pages, first couple of chapters, I am not going to finish the book. So caveat number 4, adding on to from the beginning of this video, I am the queen of DNFing. I will not finish a book if it is not entertaining. I read to be entertained. If I am not entertained, I am not going to finish the book. Point blank, period. No ifs, ands, buts, none of that. I don't care. I am not committed. I am not that person. I don't do things that I don't want to do. And if I am not having fun, I'm not going to finish the book. So this book, it's like I said, I read kind of slow, but this book has been living rent free, and I'm only like 25 pages into it. And I'm like, I want to make some time to sit down and read it and find out what's going to happen. So far, I have really been enjoying just the voice of the characters in this book. So it's told from dual perspectives. You have Daisy, and then you have, ooh, what's the other girl's name? Brittany. Daisy and Brittany. And they are living in different timelines. Same world, different timelines. So they are 10 years apart, and that's all centered around this one house, right? And I haven't gotten into the thick of it yet. I'm only like 25 pages into it, but I like the pace of it. I like that we're getting to the point. I like the voice of the two characters and that they feel distinct. And for those of you who don't know, Delicious Monsters is, like I said, it's by Lizelle Samberry, and it's a horror novel. And it's centered around one house, basically. And basically, as they're the girl from the future, Brittany, as she's investigating the mansion, she runs into Daisy's story and tries to bring it to light. And then you kind of see all the things that are happening in this house. That's the premise of the book in my summed up way. So I'll let you guys know for sure once I finish reading it. But so far, so good. I did not read Blood Like Magic or Blood Like Fate. I do not plan to read Blood Like Magic or Blood Like Fate. So this is my first interaction with Lizelle Samberry. And so far, I am actually really impressed with what I'm reading. I didn't know what to expect going into this, but I am one of those people where if a book is hyped and an author is hyped, I just have really low expectations because that's just who I am. I'm just kind of like, if everybody loves this, I have questions. I have questions. But so far, this is living up to the hype, and I'm really glad for that. I also like that the teenagers in this book feel like teenagers, and that's something that I really look for in YA. I don't want teenagers who basically feel like, I don't know, 12-year-olds, and they're supposed to be like 17, and they're stupid, immature, and I'm just like, bruh, if I had known you when I was 17, I would have smacked you in the face with this book. Like, honestly. I don't like that kind of energy, and I also don't like when teenagers feel like they're basically whole adults, you know? I want them to feel like teenagers, if that makes sense. And in the beginning, Daisy, Brittany, yeah, they got the right vibe. They got the right vibe about them. They got the right, the world is my oyster, but also I'm not taking any nonsense, but also like what's going on. I still have rules and regulations that I have to live by because I'm not a fully grown adult yet. Love that for them. Can't wait to see where this goes. So I will keep you guys updated on this, and shout out to the publishing team because they sent me this and I got a whole box. I did an unboxing for this. So go check that out if you want to. It's rather short because I'm not a fancy girl like that, but yeah. And Lizelle Samberry is also an author tuber here on YouTube. So if you haven't already, go check out her channel because she's actually really dope. So yeah, that is it. Those are the two books that I'm reading. There are a couple other ones that are on my radar. I definitely want to get into The Grim Reaper's Lawyer by, I think her name is Mia Monique. I want to read that, and I also want to read Bones to the Wind by Tatiana Obey. But like I said, the way my brain is set up, it does not move super fast, you guys. But if you have read any of these books, let me know what you thought about them. If you like this little reading update, let me know because like I said, I don't do this very often. So I would love to know if you guys are into it, not into it, if I should keep doing it or if I'm just wasting my time. So let me know. Thank you guys for watching until the end. If you have, drop a little book stack emoji or something in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. And yeah. So until next time, you guys, I hope your days are lovely and your books interesting. Bye.